Romania, lying in the heart of Eastern Europe in a time zone 2 hours ahead of the UK. Romania is bordered by Hungary, the Ukraine, Bulgaria, Serbia and the Black Sea. Romania has its own unique language, Romanian, a mixture of Slav and Latin languages. It is amazingly diverse for its size, having mountains and plenty of rich cropland, as well as the sea, which attracts many tourists to the Constanța area. Many crops are grown in Romania, including wheat, sunflowers, as well as other diverse crops. Romania contains some interesting geographical features. Its countryside is diverse, fertile and picturesque, with plenty of lakes and rivers such as the Danube, which empty into the Black Sea at its famed delta area. Romania has ranges of varied and beautiful mountains, including winter resort areas, with plenty of skiing. Romania is an ancient country, rich in history and ancient ruins. It still has quaint old world villages such as this one in Transylvania, home to many legends of werewolves and vampires. Sighișoara is typical of the spirit of Transylvania. Many old world traditions are preserved in the villages of Romania. Horse-drawn carts are a common sight in villages, sometimes even in cities. Romania has its castles as well, such as Bran Castle, known as Dracula's Castle. Peles Castle was the king's residence, with lots of detailed interior finishing by skilled artisans. Romania is proud to be known as a Christian country. This is the famed Black Church in German-influenced Brasov. Orthodox monasteries preserve old traditions, and Orthodox churches are noteworthy for ornate decor and many wall murals depicting Bible personages and events. Cathedrals are large, impressive centerpieces of Romanian cities, this one in Timișoara, and this one in the capital, Bucharest. Village Orthodox churches preserve unique traditions such as meals honouring the dead. Bucharest, the capital, was once known as the Paris of the Balkans. The parliamentary palace, built by former communist dictator Ceausescu, is one of the world's largest buildings. Bucharest boulevards and rivers encourage comparisons with Paris. Lovely fountains are common in Romanian cities, and old and new architecture blend together. This is the Intercontinental Hotel, juxtaposed with historic old buildings with classic architecture. In 1989, the Romanian people's discontent with Ceausescu's communism, with food and electricity shortages and strict police monitoring, came to a head. Ceausescu was forced out in the revolution of December 1989, but at the price of many lives. Here is a makeshift morgue for the victims and heroes of the revolution. The people had spoken, and Romania became a democracy, but high hopes were dashed when the economy faltered and poverty became rampant. Many became virtually homeless or even reduced to living in the streets. There were too many mouths to feed, and thousands of children were kicked out of their homes or ran away from desperate conditions, but they suffered in horribly poor conditions in orphanages run by the state. Languishing without proper food or affection, resulting in severe emotional problems. Thousands of children ended up on the streets and turned to drugs to dull their hunger, cold and loneliness. They sought shelter in dangerous tunnels underneath the streets of Romanian cities. In 1997, this need was shared with college students and churches, and a dedicated team was formed to minister to the needs of youth and children struggling to survive in the streets and tunnels of Constanța, Romania's second largest city. This organisation became a legal Romanian charity in 1997. It's state authorised and accredited to provide the services it does. Constanța is a major European shipping port and has an interesting world blend of Oriental and Western culture with its own historic architecture. The port complex is a virtual city within a city, processes cargo from many different countries. This slide shows the centuries-old coexistence of Christianity and Islam Turkish-influenced Constanța, the Orthodox cathedral dome juxtaposed with the mosque minaret. There is a very disturbing subculture of lost children and youth doing drugs and rummaging through rubbish dumpsters and seeking shelter in filthy, dangerous tunnels, shelter from the harsh elements and from the police who would sometimes beat them instead of helping them. They seek warmth in winter on manhole covers, and they come out of their tunnels to eat a sandwich offered by PRR workers. They inhale strong, volatile paint fumes to get high and momentarily numb themselves of hunger and loneliness. Some manage to find shelter in shacks. In the winter, city heating pipes provide some warmth. Some are lucky enough to find a discarded mattress to sleep on, but basically they sleep wherever they can find a place. PRR started ministering to street youth and children in 1997. Street youth are seen here with Director Marianne, second from the left in the back. PRR serves sandwiches to children and youth in the streets. Street youth here also receive a cup of hot tea. PRR workers offer basic first aid. Here is a man who had been beaten in the face. Prayer is the key to street outreach. PRR is a Christian mission, although non-denominational. Many children express a serious interest in God and in their spiritual life. PRR distributes clothing and shoes according to need and availability, but there always seems to be a greater need than our resources provide. On occasion, PRR offers hot meals in the street outreach. Sometimes the beneficiaries are homeless elderly. For those who live in shacks with some space to put things, PRR periodically offers food provisions, not only sandwiches. Sometimes soap and other personal provisions. One old lady made some small blankets for us to give out in the street outreach, and at 93 years old she's still making them. Here is Marianne assisting a street youth, and here are more blankets being given out by PRR during a snowy winter. Various clothing items are giving out. Socks are always in a great need. Shoes are needed, but the need always seems greater than the supply. Marianne is very good at assessing clothing needs and distributing where the need is greatest. Here is Marianne with the street youth who received a new jacket from PRR. Jeans are also needed and in very short supply. Here is a family who live in a very cramped space. The father has TB. Since they have at least a rudimentary stove, we have given them food provisions. This family also lives in a shack and receives help from PRR. Here, youth in the street receive Christmas presents from PRR. We don't have adequate resources yet to meet the long-term needs of those in the streets, for proper medical care and to get them off the streets. Sadly, this young man, Costello, died, and here is his burial. This young man also died while living on the streets. His name was Philip, and we lost this youth to death, and this one as well. This young man lost several toes to frostbite, not having proper footwear in the winter. He too eventually died, probably of TB. This young man, also called Costello, had a severe leg problem, but PRR helped him and he is now much better. In 1997, PRR opened a day centre, about the same time as street outreach was launched. Casa Caris, Grace House in Romania, was a day centre offering a hot meal and structured programme with the goal of preparing street children to leave the streets for a better life, and many did. At Casa Caris, children were helped in many ways. Children received clothing and the opportunity to clean up and change clothing. First aid was offered, and PRR workers took many to the doctor or the hospital over the years. Children loved to sing at Casa Caris. Many of the songs were Christian praise songs. The good news of Jesus Christ and his love was explained to them many times and in many ways. Group discussions provide a venue for the children to be listened to and help to give them hope for a future. Many times, visiting teams presented skits and songs with a Christian message. Many of the children came to PRR illiterate, but they were taught to read and write at Casa Caris. There are lots of fun activities, and this made the day centre an attractive place. PRR football team won the championship, playing against other local organisations. Children and youth are offered the opportunity to attend Christian summer camp, and at Christmas time there is a special celebration and the children receive gifts, lots of attention. PRR relies heavily on material donations as well as financial support. Here, Casa Caris children intently watch a Christian presentation. Here is a success story. Claudio came to the day centre and PRR found him a Christian placement in Brasov. Alex, in the centre, attended the day centre and PRR helped arrange placement with a wonderful Christian couple. Alex, later with his brother Julian, was placed in the PRR family boys' home. Christy, who came to the day centre regularly, he had a leg handicap and PRR facilitated surgery to help him. At the Casa Caris Day Centre, children, some of whom were placed in PRR boys' home, are shown here. Here, PRR Family Home for Boys, which opened in 1997 and continuously served since then. Here is a typical Romanian apartment block which was the home for boys for 10 years. The boys learn household skills and other life skills as well. The PRR boys and girls make their own bread. There is nothing like fresh, warm, homemade bread right out of the oven. Also, they learn to do their own laundry. They receive medical and dental care. Regular Bible-based lessons and discussions are a very important part of life at PRR. PRR maintains a large garden at the Cogliniceanu village location, and the boys and girls work in the garden and help to put fresh, wholesome food on the table. In 2006, a transition house was opened to help boys who leave the home to help adjust to living on their own. Some of the younger ones are reintegrated with their families. In 2004, a large single-level home was constructed on the PRR property in Cogliniceanu village, about 20 minutes north of Constanța. The boys' home is currently located there, with plenty of space inside and out for many activities. PRR group of boys are here in residence at the home. In 2000, PRR leaders realised that something needed to be done to help girls as well in a residential setting. For example, a young girl was living in filth in the basement rubble of this building under demolition. Cami, here wearing yellow, started coming to Casa Charis Day Centre, but she desperately needed a home. Casa Charis Girls Group Home opened in 2000. Education is a high priority in PRR homes, as it was in the day centre which closed in 2004. The girls as well as boys have a regular Bible-based discussion and lessons. They attend church regularly and sometimes sing special music in the services. Events such as birthdays and leavings are an important part of the PRR family. In 2004, the Casa Cara Girls Group Home moved to this lovely house in Valul Traian, another neighbouring village. This is Cami again, years after she left the filthy, dangerous life in the streets and came to Casa Cara. PRR youth attend Christian camp in the summer. Sometimes the PRR youth go to special Christian youth events. PRR holds its own summer Christian camp in August, with emphasis for the younger children. Here are some more pictures of the PRR summer camp. Here are some PRR success stories. These two grew up in PRR homes and are now married, living exemplary Christian lives working in the church. This young man stayed in the boys' home and is an honest, hard-working example, now living and working in Italy. He also became a Christian at PRR. Jan Wright lived in the PRR boys' home and now works for a Christian firm in Sweden, shown here with his wife. They are also faithful Christians. Ramika, 24, came to PRR 10 years ago, an illiterate street child. He now has a high school diploma as well as plumber and gas installer certification. He also works full-time in the boys' home, where he once lived himself. Yulin lived in the boys' home before joining the army and then getting married. He is also an active Christian and volunteer for PRR and for his church. Adrian lived in the boys' home and now has a lovely family. All these young men have stayed in touch and many former PRR beneficiaries come back to visit. A key value at PRR is long-term belonging. PRR is really like a large extended family. Those who are physically left still really belong and they know they belong. Lastly, and sadly, here are some photographs of those that we did not have the adequate resources to help. Thank you for listening. God bless.